What's up guys, welcome back to another video. So this is a different video from my normal Invaded Lands videos, but it's sort of a continuation of the Razer Viper PvP video that I put out a little while back. So the whole idea behind that video was just to give you guys an idea of what PvPing with new lightweight mice looks like, just because our whole gaming mouse environment over the past couple of years has just changed drastically, mainly because of companies like Final Mouse, but not to mention Logitech has really been pushing boundaries as well. And then Glorious, of course, came out with the Model O. So now we have this whole trend going towards lightweight mice because people are realizing that those seem to be the best for actual competitive gaming. And the reason for that is mainly because of the idea that if you have a lightweight mouse, then obviously it has less inertia, so controlling movement should ideally be easier, which makes a lot of sense. Anyway, this is the continuation of the Razer Viper line. So Razer before this mouse created the Razer Viper and the Razer Viper Ultimate. The only difference being that the Ultimate has a charging dock because it is a wireless mouse, and it weighs 4 grams heavier, I think, than the Razer Viper. They come in respectively at 70 grams and 74. So this mouse, the Razer Viper Mini, as implied by the name, is a much smaller variant of the Razer Viper, but it's slightly different. So the shape is largely the same. You can see the same sort of footprint, just in a more condensed size. The underside looks very similar. The only difference is that when you flip it on the side, the hump measures up to be the same height that the original Razer Viper sat at. The difference is that since it's a shorter body, this actually makes it feel like it's a bulkier mouse in hand, so much more feasible to use in palm grip as well as palm claw, which I think will make a lot of people happy, just because it's not really necessary to make a mouse only suited to fingertip grip. Trying to make this mouse more suitable for a larger audience, I suppose. So I really like the shape. Really nice overall shape. I like the original Razer Viper. The only problem is that I sort of have like a hybrid claw palm grip, so the Razer Viper Model O, all those mice are sort of an adjustment for me. The second thing I want to talk about is the weight and the glides. So the Razer Viper Mini weighs 9 grams lighter than the Razer Viper, so that puts it at 61 grams. And the skates on the bottom are actually better skates relative to the original Razer Viper. So the original Razer Viper just came with the regular Teflon stock glides, but stock on the Razer Viper Mini, these come with PTFE or polytetrafluoroethylene skates, and this is like 100% PTFE. So this actually has been shown to give an advantage in terms of low friction relative to regular Teflon material that's used on mouse feet. So I would consider that an advantage unless you're a control player, in which case you would probably want something more like the Razer Viper skates. But I think low friction is probably better in the long run, and you can actually change your mouse pad based on what kind of control you would like on your mouse. Talking about buttons, so these also use the optomechanical switches, and just in terms of layout, the original, both Razer Vipers before had side buttons on the right side as well of the mouse, but these only have side buttons on the left side. And so this is not suitable for lefties, but on the right side, these buttons now stick out a little bit more. So a huge critique of the original Razer Viper series was that the buttons sat flush with the side of the shell, and the reason why Razer did that is because they wanted their mouse to be completely ambidextrous and usable by both right and left-handed people. So if you had buttons sticking out on the right side, for example, and you're right-handed, then it's probably likely that you're just going to hit it with your ring finger or something, and that would be no good. But on this instead, you have side buttons only on the left, so it makes them easier to hit with your thumb, and there's no side buttons to worry about on the right side, so you can sort of protrude these out as much as you want without really any problems. So other than the button layout, you also have a DPI button on here, and the optomechanical switches have been refined as well. So Razer has the same optical technology that's within the actual primary Mouse 1 and Mouse 2. The difference now is that they've adjusted the feel of them. So the actual click that they make, the sound is a little bit deeper. It's a little bit lighter than the original Razer Vipers, which is a good change, I think, for a lot of people, just because those buttons were still pretty stiff, I think. People didn't really like the feel of them. They thought they were too heavy, so after long sessions, it was hard to click them in. Especially for Minecraft PvPers, you can't really butterfly or jitter click with the old Razer Viper just because the buttons were stiffer. I will also mention, just in terms of Minecraft PvP, that the optical switches are not the best switches to butterfly click with, just because you can't really get the single click double bounce technique down, because optical switches prevent that by definition. The idea here is that for most people who want a butterfly click like 20 clicks per second, they use something like a Glorious Model O or like an older mouse, so like a Razer Death Adder 2013, where they didn't really correct for debounce time. So on the Glorious Model O, you can set your debounce time to be extremely low, and the idea there is that you can actually still register 2 clicks with a single one, just making the button go up and down. Whereas newer mice, as well as the Razer Viper Mini, have built-in technology to make sure that doesn't happen, just because for the most part, double clicks are a bad thing. So that's just one thing to note. And then finally, the sensor. So this is mainly what makes this mouse so cheap. So most sensors on the market range between the PMW 3360 with the PMW 3389, and then Razer and Logitech have their own sensors. So Razer created a new budget sensor for this mouse, and they didn't actually cut too many corners. So the one complaint about this sensor performance being different from the others is that this has a higher liftoff distance. So 3360 and so on seems to have really low liftoff distance, measuring less than a DVD. So this seems to be about 1 to 2 DVDs, just as a point of reference. So, but that's not actually a big deal for a lot of people, including myself. Some people like to fuss about it just because if you're a really twitch wrist aimer, then small adjustments in your aim, or small adjustments to the mouse, can actually throw off your aim completely. So by lifting the mouse and putting it back down could really mess you up. So if that's your kind of play style, then you probably want to stray away from this kind of mouse, but otherwise you should be fine. The other thing is that the sensor only goes up to 8500 DPI, which is not a huge problem for a lot of people. I think just in terms of marketing, it looks better if you can say that, oh, our sensor goes up to 16,000 or whatever. But 8500 DPI, more than enough for a lot of people. Spinout's not really a thing on this mouse, so you don't really have to worry about max tracking speed and all that jazz. So overall recommendation, yeah, I mean, it's a really good mouse. I think it suits my hands very well. I especially like the change to the back. So now I like to almost do like a fingertip palm hybrid, where I can sort of rest part of my palm on the back of the mouse. So this actually creates a really nice positioning for me. I can also like full palm, but then like if I really wanted to full palm, my fingers hang over a little bit. But again, not the biggest of issues. I think it's a great addition to the mouse market. And yeah, I think Razer really owed it to their audience to make a Viper Mini, because this makes a lot of people happy. So I'll give some gameplay, mouse and keyboard sounds, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Peace out.